What are you hearing on that? Do you think the Packers are kicking the tires on a Micah Parsons trade?
I think that they would love to be interested. I think they're monitoring things. I think that they probably checked in on Trey Hendrickson just to see what it was, would be my guess. And I could see that. Now, the whole question is there's interest across the league in Micah, but I don't think anybody feels right now like Dallas is going to realistically trade him. That's the bigger issue, is that people don't feel like Dallas is going to make a move. Now, we'll see if that changes or not.
Adam,
Trying to get this.
did you hear anything more about the meeting with Schottenheimer? Because from what I read, it sounded like it went fairly well. They're talking about having to ramp him up for the start of the season because he missed so much camp. You hear anything more? I mean, because that sounded like fairly friendly meeting.
Uh, well, I think it was an hour-long meeting, which tells you that clearly there were some issues uh, at work, right? And after that meeting, basically Brian Schottenheimer said he was not given any assurances that Micah Parsons would be able to play in the opener. And that's all I need to know. I think in that hour, without knowing what happened, I'm going to guess that Brian Schottenheimer said, "Look, Micah, I love you. I want you here. You're an unbelievable player. I can't have you laying on the table during games. Okay, there's a certain standard. You know, that's unacceptable. Okay, I need you to be around here. I need to be invested. I understand you got to do what you got to do, but there's certain things that just aren't possible, right? And so I think that that's probably a part of that conversation. Um, what else they talked about, I don't know. We'll see, but um, you know, it's been the story of the summer. It continues to be the story. We'll see where it goes. They haven't had any contract discussions, to my knowledge, in months. So that's where it's at right now.
Adam Schefter on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, brought to you by Tony Wendorf and Associates. Just like the moves made in the pros, Tony Wendorf and Associates, First Weber Real Estate Services, help people make their own big moves every day. If the Cowboys do reach a point where we're just going to have to trade him, this is what we have to do, and they have to trade Micah Parsons, do you think that they would try to trade him to an AFC team so they wouldn't have to worry about him, or would they be open to trading him to an NFC team?
Well, I think an NFC team would have to give up more. I think they ideally would prefer to trade him to an AFC team, but that doesn't mean, for your Packers that they couldn't get it. I'm sure they could if they had the right offer, and Micah could do a deal with them. Yeah, I think that wouldn't be an issue. So AFC would be the preference, but I don't think it's that. It's that. And by the way, like, you got to get to the point where the Cowboys are even trading him, and I don't know that. I have not heard they're at that point. Okay, so we're really getting ahead of ourselves here, but okay, it's fun to talk about.
Where would it have to get to? Because, I know Jerry went on. I didn't even know Michael Irvin had his own YouTube show until Jerry showed up on it last week. But he said, well, I've got 3 years to figure this out, obviously alluding to this year's contract, franchise tag. If that's Jerry's mentality, I'm guessing they're a long ways off from getting to a point where they think they have to trade him, right?
Well, that's the feeling around the league when you talk to other teams. Like, every other team would love to put together a package for Micah, but I haven't spoken to anybody who thinks that they're serious about trading him yet.
Adam Schefter hanging out with us here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. So the next domino that we're discussing here is, of course, how we talked in the offseason about how Ed Policy did not give extensions to Matt LaFleur and to Brian Gutekunst. So there is at least they're trying to create a sense of urgency. They're saying, you got to put up or shut up. It's time. Have you been hearing that there is any additional pressure, that the Packers front office feels any additional pressure after Ed Policy did not give them those extensions?
I think Ed probably has to come in, I'm going to guess, and assess where everything's at. I mean, he knows, but he's still got to run things his way, figure things out how he wants to do things. Do we know how many years Goody has left right now?
Two. Because Policy said that he's not a fan of doing lame duck deals, but also he wasn't going to give an extension. So 2 years left for both Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur.
By the way, some coaches absolutely get extensions with 2 years left, but a lot of times teams wait till they have a year left, and some even go deeper than that. So I just think he's just not getting out ahead of himself when he's just taking over. and he's figured things out. Like, why do we have to give extensions today? We could do this a year from now, right? If they have a great year, happy to take care of them and reward them. It's not like the price is going way up. If they don't, I have the option that if we feel like we need to make changes, we could. I just think it keeps everything open for him, and he's not ready to commit to anything right away. Like, to do that right away when you're stepping in, he didn't hire them, although he was involved in the process of hiring them. So let's just get a feel for everything, and we can extend them in time or not.
Adam, Aaron Rodgers did an interview with Bill Huber, local Sports Illustrated reporter, and one of the first questions he asked was, and I'm talking Aaron asked the reporter, Bill, he said, what's the availability of Romeo Doubs? Have you heard anything? Is Doubs?
I don't think he's available.
No.
He's had a great camp, and I think that they are very pleased with where he's at. And if you go back to last year, when he had the incident, I believe it was in L.A. Like, he's from that area, and he's overcome so much adversity to get to where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much of it was related to that or whatever the situation was, where being back where he's from. But the reports that I've gotten from the people I've spoken to, they are really pleased with Romeo Doubs this summer.
So, Adam, the big news happened yesterday, and I think a lot of people found out because of you and the ESPN notification that was pushed out. How was it to be doing what you do, but then one of the stories you're breaking is a Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift announcement, and then the sports world finding out about an engagement because of you?
Well, I didn't break the story. They announced the story, but I
Okay.
was able to break that news to many people who hadn't heard or hadn't seen their post yet, because about a minute or two after they posted it, I was aware of that and was able to post that news rather quickly. And look, when we're sending out alerts about Tommy DeVito and Tajay Spears, I just figured, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce is every bit as big as Tommy DeVito and Tajay Spears on this NFL Final Cutdown Day. So I did send out the alert. By the way, I sent out an alert when a new pope was chosen too. And I figured, why not? I figured that was a big enough deal. And there were people who were like, I can't believe I just got an ESPN alert that the new pope has been chosen. And that's how I learned about it. So sign up for the ESPN alerts right now. Sign up for Adam Schefter's ESPN alerts. And you never know whether you're going to find out about a new pope or Travis Taylor and Travis Swift and or Taylor
maybe
Swift and
maybe
Travis
he takes
Kelce
her last name. I don't
getting
know. I mean, she
engaged.
makes more money.
Be sick. Adam, you have to
Can
tell
you
us, though.
imagine the number of 87 Swift jerseys that would be sold if he changed his name?
Imagine the anger from a certain portion of the population. Adam, you have to let us in on this, though, because you are the ultimate insider. Did you know that they were engaged? Apparently, this happened right after they taped the podcast, the New Heights podcast, that, of course, broke all of those records, that broke the internet. Were you aware that this had happened before you tweeted it out yesterday?
We spent a lot of time with Jason Kelce Monday Night Countdown last week. A lot of time.
I hear you loud and clear.
I didn't say yay or nay. I just said we spent a lot of time with
Didn't
Jason Kelce
Didn't
last
say
week.
anything. Who said he said anything?
Are you expected to be invited?
No, I don't think they want paparazzi there.
Adam, biggest surprises yesterday from Cutdown Day. Obviously, it's always a tough day for a lot of these guys who have worked really hard to continue their NFL career, but biggest surprises around the league for you?
Well, there's always a lot of names that are interesting. I'll take it away that you probably might not think. Like, I'm watching Hard Knocks last night, and I see some of these Bills making plays like Charlo, the linebacker, and Zach Davidson, the tight end, and neither one of them made it. And they both look great on Hard Knocks. But another interesting thing to me is that as good as the Detroit Lions have been in recent years, and they've been really good, as of this morning, after trading Tim Patrick to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 6th-round draft pick, the Detroit Lions currently have 49 players on their roster. I don't know that I've ever heard of a really good team carrying 49 players into the final waiver, or not the final waiver, but the big waiver of the season. Like, so does that mean the Lions are going to be claiming 4 players? They're going to be signing players off. Like, what are they doing? It's just, and they obviously have a plan. They're not just winging it. But I just find that to be very odd and interesting. I've never heard of a team, no less a great team, carrying 4 players fewer than the 53 mandated players into that huge waiver the day after final cuts. You ever heard of that, Chewy?
No. Yeah. The only thing that comes to mind is when Minnesota missed the timing
at the draft.
At the draft.
And everybody was sprinting
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
their picks in to get ahead of them.
No, that is bizarre.
Like,
But
I've heard
Adam,
of
I remember back in the day,
teams-
cuts used to be, there used to be huge names that got cut back in the day. Just doesn't happen
I'm just
anymore.
saying, like, teams struggle to get down to 53. Like, and every now and then I've heard of a team having 52 players,
Mhm.
and they do that to, give themselves some flexibility to be able to go sign another player. And then, lo and behold, the Detroit Lions, the vaunted Lions, they're really good. 49. Like,
That's weird.
That's amazing to me.
Last thing before we let you go, Adam, the Packers once again have the youngest roster in the NFL. We believe this is 3 years running now. And obviously,
Well,
go ahead. What were you going to say?
no, it's just very, like, at some point they're going to grow up, right? Like, at some point they have to shave and whatnot.
No, we think that, Brian Gutekunst, it seems like this is a priority for him to have a very young team, get them cheap, keep them cheap, and then be able to, have them grow under his tutelage or the team's tutelage, whatever. But at some point, I guess my question to you is, how much should teams be valuing veteran presences? Because it feels like being the youngest team hasn't paid off entirely. They haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't been to an NFC Championship game.
Jen, you want the best players, whether they're young or old. And it's been that they've had young rosters. And if you could sprinkle in veterans like a Josh Jacobs, then you go do that. But sometimes it doesn't lend itself to that. It's not, I don't know if they've intentionally set out to have the youngest roster in the NFL year after year after year. I don't think that's been the plan. I would bet it's just kind of happened that way. That the players that they have believed in, acquired, drafted, whatever it is, developed, they're young and younger than most teams. And it just kind of worked out that way. I don't think that there's a plan. Plus, young talent is usually cheap talent because they're on rookie contracts. So that enables you to go pay Jordan Love and Rashawn Gary and some of the other players that they are playing. But your goal is to build the best roster possible, whatever that is. And again, I just think that that's more an odd coincidence than anything else.
All right, Adam Schefter, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. You have a great one, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great Labor Day weekend. We'll talk next week, the day before the opening game. How about that?
Hey guys, it's Jen from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Thanks for watching our clip. I'm sure it was super informative and educational. I'm just kidding. I love those knuckleheads. And we do it live every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get informed anytime we drop new content.